If you want to be able to find your data within your worksheet quickly, instead of just eyeballing it here, you may have a small database, in which case that's fine, but if you have a lot of data, you want to use Excel's Find feature, which can be found up here on the Home tab over in the Editing group. Click on the Find drop-down arrow, and you can either click on Find, or you can see when I hover over it, we got the shortcut keys Control F. When we click on Find, it opens up the Find and Replace window. We'll talk about replacing in just a minute, but for right now, we want to focus on what we're finding. Let me go ahead and close out. Remember, the shortcut keys Control F brings up the same window. First of all, what do I want to find? Well, let's say I want to look for $450. You can see I've got some right here, so I'm sure to find it. For this example, let me come down here and type in 450, and then all I have to do is click on Find Next, and it will go ahead and it will go from one cell to the next that contains that value. Now you can type in numbers, letters, or a combination thereof, and also, instead of using the mouse to go to the next cell to find the values, notice that out of all these buttons, the Find Next button has a blue glow around it, or like a halo. That's actually an active button, and what that means is that whenever you see a button that's highlighted like that in any of the Office applications, instead of using the mouse to click on the button because it's active, you can actually hit the Enter key on the keyboard, which makes it nice because when I type in what I'm looking for, instead of taking my hands off the keyboard, I can just hit Enter, Enter, Enter without having to come down here and clicking on Find Next. And you can see it zips around here when I hit Enter a couple of times. Well, that's one way to find what you're looking for here. Another way is to click on the Find All button. It opens up the window or expands it here. And you can see I've got a scroll window, so I can scroll down and find all the cells that contain that value 450. In fact, let me come up here and click and drag the header bar so I can move the window up above, and then hover over the bottom part of the window so my pointer turns into arrows pointing in opposite directions. When you see that, just click and hold your left mouse button down, and you can drag it out to open up the window to get rid of the scrolling bar, and you can see all the cells that contain the value 450. Now what I really like about the Find All feature, as opposed to using Find Next, is that it shows me the worksheet that it found it on, and right now by default it's only looking on sheet 1, and I'll show you in just a minute how you can search all the worksheets that are within this workbook here, including sheet 2 and 3. But in any case, if it pulls up sheet 2 or sheet 3, I can say I just want to focus on all those found on sheet 1. Also, if I look at the cell, I can identify if the 450 value is something I want to be looking at outside of the column D. There's column D6, well, row 6, D7, D16, as opposed to column E for E16 for the name of the cell. So I can identify if this is something I want to jump to, which, by the way, when I hover over these, you can see my little finger there. It's just like searching the internet. These are hyperlinks, so I can click on it and jump right to the cell. Click on it, jump to another cell. Now if I want to search the entire workbook, I just come up here and click on the options, so it opens up the window and reveals other features, including, well, you can actually not only search by letters or numbers or a combination, you can actually search by format or formatting. For example, if I have a cell like I do here that's in B for bold, or italics, or underlined, or it's got some color within the cell, or applied to the font, or font style, I can go ahead and search just for the formats, but we'll cover that in just a minute. Right now, instead of looking within this worksheet, I want to search all the sheets that are within this workbook. So I selected it. I can go ahead and click Find Next, and it will toggle through everything. When it's done finding all the values in this worksheet, it'll go to the next worksheet. But instead I'll just click on Find All, and there we go. It opens up. I can scroll down or hover over the bottom, click and drag to stretch it open, and it found the value 450, well, not in currency format, but just in plain format or general number format on sheet 2. Click on it. When I click the link, it takes me to sheet 2, and well, there's the number 450. Before I started this training video here, I typed it in. That way, for the sake of the training video, you know that if you want to search within the workbook and you actually have that value on other sheets, it'll find it. So I can either close out of here and click and go back to sheet 1, or just click on sheet 1 to go back and forth, or I can use the links down below to go back to sheet 1 and back to sheet 2. Let me go ahead and close out. And then finally, if you want to be able to find cells that contain specific formatting. Now, why would I want to do that? Well, maybe you're giving your worksheet a facelift. For example, if I want to find all those cells that contain, well, bold here and replace it with something else, maybe just leave the bold but add color to it instead of selecting each cell, I can go ahead and find them all, and then in just a second I'll show you how to go ahead and start replacing either cells with formatting or either cells with, in this case, the cell I have selected with a new number instead of 450. Maybe all the cells that contain 450, I'll want to replace it and update it with 475. Let's go ahead and first find all the cells. Instead of data, we're looking for formatting. So go ahead and hit Control F to open up the Find and Replace window, and I'll drag it up here. And of course, you've got the Options button. When you click on that, you get the simple Find, but if you click on it again, it opens up. And for right now, you can see that the Find feature has no formatting set. If I want to go ahead and set the formatting to bold, I can either click on the drop-down arrow and go to Format, click Cancel, or click on the Format button, and it opens up. And you've got all the different format options. You've got the number. Do you want to look for a cell that contains, well, the currency formatting, general number, something special, alignment, borders, fill, protection? We'll cover font. And say we just want to search and find all the cells that contain the bold format. You can see the preview window, it's bolded. Click OK. Now I want to be able to get rid of the what here because, in other words, if I leave this here along with the bold, Excel is going to be searching for any cell that contains 450 that has bold applied to it. In fact, if I click on Find All, it's like I can't find it. Let me click and drag and move it out of the way. You can see it's looking for 450, but it's also, in addition, looking to see if it's bolded. That's why it can't find it, because it's not bolded. So let me go ahead and click in the cell and delete 450, and then go ahead and click Find All, and well, there we go. Let me click and drag the header bar up, and then hover over the bottom, click and drag to stretch the bottom window open, and this is interesting. This I expected. Well, the formatting in A1, it's bold, and the formatting, go to A12, it's bold, but what are these others? If I click on it, it takes me down to a cell that has the formatting, and there it is, B for bold, even though there's nothing in it, which of course makes sense. It's just looking for the formatting, so I can go ahead and click on it to remove the formatting, the bold, from the cell. Let's go over to the next one. We'll go to cell A9, and actually that's worksheet 2. Now, I'm still looking within the entire workbook. I don't want to look within the entire workbook. Let me go ahead and remove the formatting from that cell. I want to go back to looking just within the worksheet. So let me come back down here, go to sheet 1. After I made those changes and removed the bold formatting from these two cells, also on sheet 2, click on Find All again to refresh it, and there we go. The two cells here. Let me go ahead and close out. Alright, so we know how to find data. Now I want to show you how to find it and replace it. So I want to be able to update all my cells that have $450. Let's say we got the numbers wrong. It's supposed to be $475. I'm going to go ahead and do Control F to bring up the Find window, and then click on the Replace tab. Or let me close out. Of course, you can come up here on the Home tab, go over to the Editing group, click on the Find drop-down arrow, and there's Replace. When I hover over it, the shortcut key is Control H. Let me click on it. Brings up the Find and Replace, but it dumps me on the Replace tab, as opposed to me going to the Find and then clicking on Replace. Close out. Again, the shortcut key is Control H. Now you'll notice that on the Replace tab, first of all, it's got to know what you're finding, so you can go ahead and replace it with whatever you're finding, as opposed to the Find tab where it just has Find What. So it adds the Replace With on the Replace tab down below the Find What. What do I want to find? Well, I want to find $450. And what do I want to replace it with? Again, $475. So before I go ahead and replace it, let me make sure I can find it. Click Find Next, and it says it can't find anything. Well, as you recall, I set formatting to the Find option, so it's looking for whatever I type in here plus the formatting. I haven't cleared the formatting yet, have I? So to clear it, so it's not searching for both the formatting B for bold and also the number here, 450, which I don't have any cells that contain 450 that has the formatting bold applied to it, click on the drop-down arrow and go ahead and clear the formatting. Once I clear it, now it's just going to search for 450 and not any particular format. So I can go ahead and click Find Next, and it finds it. Find Next. So after I feel comfortable with what I'm finding, I can go ahead and replace it. So it replaced it and went to the next one that contained the value 450. I can replace that. Of course, I can click on Find All, and it finds the remaining ones that contain 450 here. Click and drag and open it up. Of course, that might take forever if you have a lot to replace, so just go ahead and click on Replace All, and it tells you it completed its replacement, a total of 4, outside the 2 that we did manually by clicking on the Replace button here twice. Click OK, and just keep in mind that, let me go ahead and close out, anytime that you want to do either finding or replacing, Control F or Control H, and you're going back and forth, If the Options button is closed, then you won't be able to see if there's any formatting that's tied to what you're finding and or replacing, because you can actually replace not only with numbers, but you can say, instead of replacing with numbers, how about if I just color the cell with some sort of pretty fill color like orange or yellow. So you may want to open up the options. I mean, it's obvious here that if you're doing a new find, you just delete it and type in a new number. But if the options are collapsed, you won't be able to see if there's any formatting that was previously set, in which case you want to click on the drop-down arrow and click on Clear the Find Format or click Clear the Replacement Format. There are many times when I forgot to clear the formatting with the options collapsed and it didn't find it within the worksheet, so I didn't think it was there. Thanks for watching. Hey, as a quick reminder, if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up. You can also click on me and subscribe to my channel, get notified of the latest videos, and for only $2 a month you can have access to all my Microsoft Office training videos.